To keep the video a little shorter, I've put up the objectives on the screen while I rant about the other things, and then we move on straight into the videos. Let me start by apologizing for the format of the videos. They were done in portrait as opposed to landscape format. This was recorded in August of 2017, long before I was putting up videos often enough and editing or anything else. So yeah, we just have to work with what we record then. Hopefully the ambitions I had at that point in time of reviewing everything in detail, hopefully I can meet that now. Much of the data I probably don't have apart from what's in the videos. Electroluminescent wire, or EL wire as it's commonly called, is essentially the excitation of a phosphor to create light. It essentially behaves like a capacitor. You have a copper wire on the inside, a phosphor coating around that, and then two wires that run around that in a spiral that generate essentially the excitation, and you get the light coming out of it. Over that, you tend to have either a clear or colored coating that basically gives it the final look and color that you're looking for. Essentially, they get different colors by just putting different color sleeves on. The picture that shows here, exactly what we just described, is courtesy Wikipedia, so I assume it's free to use. Anyway, so that just basically tells you what it is. It also is done in plates, different types, different formats. Essentially, it will always be two sides, just like a capacitor, two sides, and the phosphor forming the center dielectric, so that you get excitation and light emission. Of course, in a plate type scenario, the contacts, at least on one side, need to be, transparent, so that you could actually see the light that you generate. Alright, this is a quick review of the EL lighting. This is how it came. Pretty simple thing. Circuit in here, a back clip that was on. I've taken that out. I'm going to remove the screw and see where it is. There's some reading on this wire. Do a little research and see what kind of voltage. Test it maybe and tell what it is. This is how the EL wire with that looks. Pretty much this clip here plugs into this one here. Pretty much relatively simple thing. Alright, haven't opened it. This is pretty much what we're looking at. One transistor there, switch, LED, and pretty much the contacts, and then the back here, an IC and a couple passives. Comes down to just tracing the circuit out and seeing what it is, what kind of voltage they're looking to put out on this. Well, powered it directly from the main supply, well actually through one of these small switch mode power supplies that you get with these cell phones, and as you can see, slitting up, kind of a baby blue. And yeah, so this is the output here. Let me just try to get my finger a little bit closer, but not too much. Yeah, right, 145 volts, 2 kilohertz. It is possible to run these things on AC current. Resistance is pretty high. Visible light pretty low. That said, what I wanted to do is just sort of convert this. So basically, right now this is on 2 AA batteries, and well, obviously that gets pretty expensive over time. Based upon the current consumption, I'm guessing this is probably going to do at most 24 hours with a alkali battery. The really cheapy zinc cells would probably be 4 hours, and that's really been optimistic based upon the ampere hour capacity, which again tends to be overstated. Voltage drops, light intensity would drop, probably not the best. This runs at 5 volts. It runs great at 5 volts. This transistor, well, he isn't too happy about that. At 3.3 volts, you're looking at probably around 40 something degrees. It's touchable, it's not going to die. At 5 volts, oh, it's beyond what you can touch in a few minutes. So clearly this little transistor is not too happy. The difference in current we're looking at is between 150 ME on the 3.3 volts. So I'm using a computer power supply to test it, to, well, 360 ME. So that's quite a significant increase in current, and I'm trying to use that 5 volt charger, but obviously I don't want this whole thing to burn down. So Okay, this is the finished semi-botched job. So I've taken off the contact of this, connect this direct, solder that here so I can disconnect the power supply and use batteries. Done two diodes in a series that's dropping actually the 3.4 volts when it really should be probably 3.8, 0.6 volts, but I guess it's probably 0.7 volts per diode, and just solder these direct onto here and here, and that's it. It works fine. Right, have a look at this. If you look, you would see some wires here. It's barely visible. This is the middle wire for the phosphor coating. These are the fine wires from there. This thing is definitely not easy to peel off, and without bursting those wires, doesn't look easy to solder. Surprisingly, I was able to solder them actually. A bit of scraping, a bit of work in doing it, but once you solder those two wires that spiral around and the center one properly, peel off the phosphor obviously, it works. It works fine. It's bright. It can be done. Obviously that needs to be contained, heat shrink, and kept from moving, because these are very fine wires. They will burst very easily, but yeah, it can be done with a lot of effort, of course. Unfortunately, this picture is a little bit blurry, but it's very clear. The air light is comparable in intensity to the Christmas bulbs, cheaper Christmas bulbs. Those are not LEDs, but yeah, it's feasible. It works. It's relatively cheap for less than 5 US and 10 feet. So yeah, definitely a good value. Could be useful.